Batmobile! Ignition!
You've just jumped inside the pull bag. Join TFG1Mike and the rest of the comic reading crew here at the GCRN as they make their great escape into comics. From DC, Marvel, IDW, Boom Studios, Zenoscope, and more, we have everything you want to read right here. Transformers comics? Yeah, we cover that. He-Man? Yeah, sure. DC superheroes like Batman, Batgirl, Nightwing, and Batman Beyond? Yep, we have those too. How about TMNT from IDW and I Hate Fairyland from Image Comics? Yeah, we have all that here. Plus, so much more. It's all inside the pull bag here on the Geekcast Radio Network. So without any further ado, it's time to talk about the comics we are reading right now here inside the pull bag.
Hello and welcome to The Pull Bag. I've been told I'm a loud talker, folks. Apparently, when I recorded episode 394 a couple of weeks ago, my wife said that's the loudest you've been ever. So I'm trying to be a little more low-toned. I am, of course, TFG1Mike. This is The Pull Bag. As I said, episode 396. Joining me is JT from Saskatoon. Hello, sir.
Good day, good day.
And yes, good day, good day. Are we living in Australia now? Did we both abandon our countries for the land down under? It's another shrimp on the barbie. That's not a knife. This is a knife. Sorry. Crocodile Dundee images coming into my head.
All I did was say good day twice. All of a sudden, Mike's like, we're off across the sea.
Hey, you know.
But yeah.
I'm a patriot and everything else, folks, but I am not as crazy as some of these people. I'm crazy, but I ain't stupid. Anyway, we're here to talk about DC Comics, Batman Beyond, from the Rebirth era of DC Comics, considering that this series is actually ending. It actually ended at issue 50. And I don't know, I have not, from everything I've seen from DC Future State, I don't know if Batman Beyond's going to have another series, at least not right away. I'm not sure. I have no clue.
I think it's going to happen. It's one of those series that just it keeps coming back.
Well, yeah, and it's different stories and different tellings. I mean, look at this run that we've done. I mean, yes, it's been Dan Jurgens, but we've been covering this since 2015 on the podcast or so, or 2016 at least, because he started with the Brave New World volume way back when, and then it went to, when it became Rebirth, he went to everything that we've covered to this point. Yeah, so this is volume 6, Divide, Conquer, and Kill. This collects issues 30 to 31, or 31
to 36.
I'm sorry. 31 to 30. 30 to 31. Yeah, that's good, Mike. 2 issues for a trade paperback. Great. The creative on this, as I mentioned, writer Dan Jurgens. Penciler is Rick Leonardi. The inker is Andy Parks. Colorist is Chris Stoudemire. Letterer is Travis Lanham. The collection cover artists are Chris Samnee and Matthew Wilson. Oh, man. So, interesting thing, folks. Somebody who used to be on this podcast, it was actually going to be you, me, and him doing this, because he's like, oh, I want a different Batman Beyond. I want a different story. I don't want just Joker, this, that, and the other thing. And I'm like, okay, cool, this is for you. And then all of a sudden, we record a podcast talking about certain things, and he's like, oh, I didn't know GCRN was alt-right. I'm like, no, has nothing to do with whatever. Anyway, so we are here, and this is Batman Beyond, Divide, Conquer, and Kill. And we started Arkham.
Yeah, I do like the one alternate cover as we get into issue 31, done by, it's pronounced Chris Samnee. He's an artist that I've probably seen his stuff throughout the years. Like, it definitely has this familiarity to it. Mm-hmm. Primarily I've known through the 2 volumes of Mark Waid's Daredevil run before Secret Wars happened at Marvel. This is like 4 or 5 years ago now. And I love that first cover where, Terry's perched over top of the Arkham gate.
Yeah.
And how Gotham or Neo Gotham's grown up or around the asylum, like how it used to be way out in the boonies, and it's always like thunder and lightning and gothic and scary, and now it's this quaint little historically preserved building in the middle of this mega city.
Yeah, the only thing that's like, I love that. I agree with you. I love this cover. The only thing that I think is missing somehow, some way, some sort of classic animated series or something Batmobile either going into or coming out of Arkham. Hell, you could have put it right further into the image down the road, so it's not so much in the foreground, it's in the background. But no, this image is amazing. This cover is awesome.
I mean, the only thing I do this shot, but have it have the asylum looming a little bigger. And then just have Joker was here, like WUZ, something like that. But yeah, no, it's a great cover. And Samney's art he's got this he's along the lines of the late great Darwin Cook. He just has this, I don't know if it's intentional, but he has this very Silver Age like quality to his artwork.
Yeah.
And he has done some Batman here and there over the years, nothing on a consistent basis, which I think is a bit of a shame because I would love to see him, if they ever bring Batman Beyond back, like see if he's not working for Marvel and get him on. But yeah, we start the issue and we're in the asylum. And I love the director. Clearly this woman is not insane. Like she's not a member of the Arkham family, because they always like, you'd think somebody on the board, because I believe they have board of directors that runs these places. Like, okay, we're all in agreement. If they're related to Amadeus Arkham, they don't get a job. Because you always do that, and then you wonder why this place has a revolving freaking door.
Or, you put people like Doctor Strange in charge, and then everything goes to hell.
Yeah, it was quite a coup to get Stephen Strange to be the administrator of this asylum. It's a joke, Mike.
Yeah. Wrong Strange.
Or is the right Strange?
No, it's the wrong Strange. Trust me.
Yeah. Anyway, so Bruce is there because, in this rebuilding of Neo Gotham, at this point, I'm not even sure that they're in the elements of the timeline. It's still, because when we started covering this back in the day, it was post Future's End, and alternate future Tim Drake came to the future and took over as Batman Beyond, and then he blinked out of existence, but they were still operating with most of the world is incredibly pardon my French, incredibly fracked up after the Brothers' Eyes machinations. But as we'll get into in this trade, a certain character shows up which suggests maybe the world isn't messed up the way we thought it was.
Yeah. And just for everybody listening, we are an explicit podcast. I don't give a fuck what you say.
I thought I'd try and be a little more mature for once. But yeah,
right. So I mean, this is 2021 after all. We're only a number of years away from the Batman Beyond timeline.
Oh dear God.
Oh my God, we are 18 years away from the Batman Beyond timeline right now.
Yeah, just so we can all get together when Batman Beyond actually happens in real life, and we can all you and me can point to the sky together and exclaim, "Fucking called it!"
Yep.
So anyway, back to the story. Bruce is at Arkham. He's obviously investing in Gotham's infrastructure again. He's talking to the director. We see Scarecrow Beyond in her cell, and the power goes out, and it's like, gee, I wonder if somebody's going to get body snatched.
Yeah.
I don't know, does that make me jaded that I see this in a comic and I was like, somebody's not who they are anymore?
Yeah, no, I think the last point that he is who he is it's possible this might be something more, Doctor. Ridiculous, blah, blah, blah. Mr. Wayne?
Yeah. And then she's like, he was behind you, and now he's in front of you.
In front of you. There's something wrong. And I don't know. I enjoy the writing for this arc. I really, really do. I love what Dan's doing here. And I understand that this is now not Bruce Wayne. This is who it is going to turn out to be, who we will reveal in a little while. But, like, seeing old Bruce drink in, the early morning, it's like, He usually just takes a couple of Tylenol and he's fine.
I don't think it's so much that he's day drinking. Like, I would imagine, older Bruce, old man Bruce, has a nip now and again. He might have like that one, because it's not like when he was young and he was foppish playboy Bruce Wayne, it was always ginger ale, but Alfred would doctor it up to make it look like, high test liquor. But at this point, I imagine he has one now and again, because it's not like he's swinging from the trapeze with the greatest of ease anymore. I do love this. I see, the one thing I never liked about the animated series was the redesign, or not the redesign, but the design of his limo, that they made it look so much like the old Batmobile. Like,
oh no, it quite literally, they even say it. It's quite literally an upside down Batmobile. Yeah. I love that.
I mean, it's cool and all, but but I love this version of his limo. He's got the Alfred A driving, a bit early, isn't it, sir? He's like, shut up. And they go back, and honestly, I didn't trigger that something happened with Bruce until later on in this particular issue.
Oh, as soon as he started drinking, I was like, okay, that's not Bruce anymore, because number one, old or not, Bruce Wayne's body is a temple. Like, other than painkillers,
Yeah, he has the one. He had the one in the car, and really, I should have noticed right away, because he comes in the house, he's got another full glass in his hand, and then he pours a third one. I was like, Jesus, Bruce.
Yeah.
It's only 11 o'clock.
Yeah, he turned into a lush within an hour and a half.
Yeah. But
we get to Wayne Manor, and Terry and Matt are talking about Matt's grades, because apparently Matt is no longer Robin because of what happened in the last trade that we did. I don't want to say the killing, the final joke.
Yeah.
And apparently Matt's failing in school.
Yeah. What kid in his right mind is going to, I don't need none of that fancy smancy book learning. I'm Robin the boy freaking wonder. But yeah, also you see that one panel where the limo's just hovering on the front lawn. It was like, don't you have a garage? Like, come on, Alfred, like, you're slipping there, buddy. But yeah, so we get down to the Batcave, because on top of Matt failing, they're trying to deal with these rash of thefts, because there's always a rash of thefts in Gotham. It just wouldn't be Gotham.
And yeah, I love that Bruce, in quotes, is like, ooh, downstairs? Ooh, the cave? Okay. And then we
get down to the Batcave.
Mm-hmm.
And the again, it's not that I dislike it. We all love like the vast laid out design of the Batcave from the animated series. And I know it doesn't matter which artist draws the Batcave in this particular ongoing. It always seems like kind of shrunk, or their sense of design just seems like everything's kind of squished together.
I think it could be that at least in these first panels here, we're not actually seeing the entire cave. We're seeing the computer section, because that's where they go directly, like right off the stairway, they go directly to the computer. So it's just a section of the Batcave. I think later we get a fuller shot.
Yeah.
And we see a little more, but you're right. I mean, it doesn't really feel like the Batcave. It feels like, I don't know, like the panel where Terry's doing his shirt rip. That's the break we needed, Matt. The lights overhead of that make it look like they're in a hospital room to me, and they're looking at a computer at the hospital or something. They're not.
Yeah,
but
nitpicky fanboy gripes. That's all.
Hey, you know what? If you can't analyze a comic, what the hell can you analyze? Oh wait, everything else.
Yeah, or overanalyze everything else. But yeah, so they have to get Bruce to unlock the computer, which. Okay, I thought they already had full access to the computer.
Yeah.
Or is they're unlocking those files from like the battle days of Wayne Powers?
Yeah, that's what it is. It's they have access to the computer, but they didn't have access to the files.
Yeah. And I do like Leonardi's art in here. Like that full-on shot once Terry suits up. Mm-hmm. Ooh, that's nice. That's nice. That is
so nice, yeah.
And it does kind of look like the symbiote suit, when we did that arc back in the day, just with design elements. But it's his standard suit. He takes off. We see the tumbler. We get that fuller shot of the Batcave. I think that's an odd choice for a particular Batmobile to be in the.
Yeah, I don't know why you put the tumbler in there, but okay.
I mean, I love the tumbler.
Not in this universe, I don't.
Well, I mean, this is from back in the day, and it doesn't fly.
Well, true. I understand that, but I'm saying you could have, like, if that's the one Batmobile shot you get in, let's just say this one issue, I would have put any other Batmobile in there other than the tumbler.
Yeah.
That's just me, but...
And that's one of the best things about any time you get a Batman comic with the Batcave. Like, the odds are there's going to be a double-page spread where you see the Bat, and there'll be, like, that motorcade with, like, different Batmobiles lined up in case Batman is like, gee, ooh, ah, I'm going to go with eeny, meeny, miny Batmobile. So, yeah. I love something we never really saw a lot in the animated series, like the gadget gloves. Like you got like the finger mic on the window sort of thing, and the claws for fighting or climbing. Never saw him like pick out the bat skeleton key.
Yeah,
and going on once we find out who the villain is here. Not Bruce, did play it really cool. Like that line, the whole world knows that my company's affiliation with Powers wasn't good, Terry. Can't help you. Like, and that's just some really good covering, because he doesn't know everything. He just looks like Bruce. He is not.
Yeah.
And then we meet our other villain / not even really an anti-hero. I know we need like a fourth category, like hero, villain, anti-hero, poor son of a bitch.
Yeah, and the thing of it is, and I think this is super interesting. Like, this is why I wanted that other guy on here, because this to me is super interesting. I have not read a lot of Flash, any Flash. Like, I just haven't. It's not that I don't want to. I just never did. And I think I just spoiled the rest of the comic. But anyway, it's one of those things where this new character, the Split, it's interesting because you're like, wait, how did he do that? Wait, how did he do that? Wait, how did he do that? Oh, wait, it's two people? What's going on here?
Yeah.
I love that they did this. I think this is super cool. And I love that one of the two people is like, I'm not really sure we should be. We gotta kill him. We gotta this. The other guys. The other person. I'm like, oh wow, okay. So basically, the Flash meets Two-Face. There's two sides to every coin.
Two-Face.
Super speed Two-Face.
Although the way I do love how Leonardi does, I don't know if he does the speech balloons or it's like the colorist or the inker, but they have like you see like the speech balloon and there's like that little shadow in between because it's almost like you hear an echo, I would imagine.
Yeah.
And their design, like when they peel apart and go back together, made me think of, I can't remember their names, but there were those two Autobots in Transformers Animated that
would be Jetstorm and
Skyfire.
No. Oh God, just keep talking.
You know who I'm talking. Oh no, I mean it's not important. But those characters, like you know who I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted to get those because I thought that was a really cool function of, you know, you've never really seen that in a combiner before. But yeah, the split, as Matt so names him, and works Batman. I mean, this is akin to Stone Cold Steve Austin stumping a mud hole in someone's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, Matt, they named themselves. Matt didn't name them so much. I misspoke, but you know, they lock Terry inside this basically vacuum chamber, gravity chamber.
A gravity chamber, yep.
And not Bruce is like, how do we save him, Mr. Wade? No idea.
Yeah, no idea. No clue.
And then we go back and looking at this guy who Leonardi may have taken some design notions from an Iron Man villain called the Ghost, because that's who I thought I was looking at here with this individual in a straitjacket and a helmet.
Yep.
You know, and when I was reading this and I saw this, the first thing is that popped into my mind is a line from Pulp Fiction: "Get the Gimp." But you know, that's the end of the first issue, and we go to probably my favorite cover from the individual issues because, you know, working from the trade here of, you know, Terry flying and got like that classic live nude girls XXS sign. We see Bruce gambling somewhere with a couple of honeys on his arm with this "I'm Bruce freaking Wayne" smile on his face.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I think that's that again, we know this is not Bruce Wayne because Bruce Wayne would never do this. However, seeing the fake Bruce do this, or I should say the false Bruce do this, it's interesting because you're bringing, like, this is, and I don't know if Dan had this story planned out, if any of this is editorial. I highly doubt it. I think it might have just been, I don't know, I'm hoping. I know Dan Jurgens has done a lot for writing, but I'm hoping we can specifically talk to him about this series at some point, one of these days. But I love that we do see Bruce in this whole new way because you're trying to bring in the readers. You're trying to shock people. Yes, Terry is Batman. Yes, Matt was Robin. So you're, I mentioned a couple episodes ago when we did Batwing volumes 4 and 5 from New 52 earlier this month. You know, I mentioned that, you know, sometimes editorials are like, hey, we're going to do a fresh new start at issue 31 or whatever, and, you know, to bring in the new readers kind of thing. That character you were talking about is Safeguard. It's a combination of Jetfire and Jetstorm, voiced by Tom Kenny and Phil Lamar, respectively. But yeah, I think this is super interesting. I think it's fun. I think it's cool, even though we know that it's not, you know, Bruce. And then obviously as we get closer to the end of this issue, this first issue here, you know, I'm not who you think I am. I don't remember.
Yeah. And I like how Terry's fighting in the old days. If this was like the, you know, version 1 suit that we have like at the beginning of the animated series, he's a red sticky pancake. Mm-hmm. But he tries the classic, I'm going to use the electrical what's it in my belt to short the thing out. Nope.
That didn't work.
And I love how Matt, you know, he's still Robin. Like, he's Robin Beyond, right. And he's working from the Batcave, and he figures out how to save his brother. And then I love how even Matt's like got to be thinking, okay, something's off with Mr. Wayne, because Wayne's like, you know what, nuts to this, I'm going to bed.
Yeah. And I'm kind of glad that he did, honestly, because we saw his adventures already so far, and now we can just focus on the whole mystery of who the Split is, who the Split are, and, you know, all of that.
I love when you do a duo character design properly, like the you got to go with the idea less is more. And I love when they're split, you got this, you got black with gray, black with yellow, and then it's a proper combination when they're merged. And I just love it when less is more. You know, it's simple, but it works, because so many times, especially in something like Marvel, when you try to do, say, like an evil double or somebody with a theme like that, it's so overly designed.
Yeah.
And this Leonardi I think he put some, I don't know how much work he put into it, but he put work in, and he came up with a very simple design, and probably alluding to, the somewhat simple designs of the animation.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I love this suit.
Yeah, I love their suits. I love the way that they combine, the way that they split apart. I'm looking at the panel where, if he's as good as they say he found a way out, what's important is that we got the power stabilization unit. So it's the two of them, and the gold one is holding the power stable. I'm like, oh, silver and gold. It's Christmas time in Batman Land, because their costumes are silver and gold. Well, one of them is silver and black, and the other is kind of silver and gold. But yeah, no, I dig that. And what I love is how, as we get back to the Batcave here, instead of Terry and Bruce and Tim, and I almost said Tim, and Matt having to sit or stand over a operating table for the suit, you can just put it in a Transformers recharge station and have it repair itself.
Oh, I was thinking some jacked up 3D printer, but sure.
Well, I mean, I think of the old the G1 version where they had chambers, and then in Beast Wars they had recharge chambers. So I'm like, oh, a repair chamber, okay.
Yeah, no, but I love seeing like you can imagine the needles just going in just all over. Kind of like if you ever watched Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you see the episodes where they reveal how Agent Coulson survived Avengers, and you see like the robo needles working on his brain. But yeah,
I never watched that show past season 1. We get the entrance of Melanie.
Yeah, she comes in, she's offering help, and Terry's like, nah, I got this, babe. And then he takes off and is like, where's the boss? And there's like, no, Mr. Wayne left the house an hour ago. Because he's an old, and only because of an elderly relative of mine who's no longer with us, he would get up in the morning, he would have his coffee, and he would go to the casino.
Mm-hmm.
And this just seems like a stereotype of the elderly. He got 3 hours of sleep, he had his morning prune juice, and he got the robocar to take him to the casino.
Yeah. And I love it. Maybe this is just because in production, folks, let alone actual release of episodes, as of this recording, last night I just recorded episode 394. And in that, we have several different shots of Luke Fox as Batwing flying off and doing things. In these next shots where, Melanie is, like you said, if you need a hand, 10 is ready to fly. Yeah, because saying you have the split figured out, there shouldn't be any surprises. So we see him flying off, we see him flying out, and I'm like, oh, that reminds me. It's a classic kind of Batman, fly off shot or whatever, especially if your bat suit can fly specifically. And then we see this big, I almost want to say April Moon shot of him where he's like replying to Matt, always do, Matt. And I'm like, oh, very cool. I love the way that this art is. I love the way this suit is. I love the wings. I think that's super cool. I think what's even cooler is the gloves actually have the I don't want to call them okay, there you go. I was going to call them Shredder side blades, but yeah, the fins on them. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Although my favorite version of that is the ones you see in The Dark Knight, where Christian Bale's fucking around with a gauntlet and they fly off like mini shuriken.
Yep, that is.
But
cool.
yeah, so we get one of the design elements that all the artists across like the digital series and through the Tim Drake run and that is they've got Neo Gotham built up on top of the remains of old Gotham. So occasionally they'll get down to the brick and mortar, like what we would think is like our modern day sort of city. But, you know, it's like when in Futurama, when they go to old New York, you know, it's like that. And I kind of love that design aesthetic when they do future based series like this. And I love, I don't think it's Matt or Melanie, could have been either, where it doesn't look like a scientific research facility. And Terry's like, well, Powers wasn't exactly on the up and up. And that's another thing. It's like, again, go to Marvel, like where Tony finds the secret door in Age of Ultron. He's like, please be a door, please be a door, please be a door. Yay! Because who doesn't love a good secret passage?
Yeah, really.
Terry effectively has X-ray vision.
Yeah, he effectively does, and it works.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, well, I mean, and again, I love how the eyes, like they get the symbiote suit eyes like that when he does certain tech things, and you get like the, you know, the Tron anime like energy bits going off the side, like just expanding them like that. Again, or we may be overthinking this entirely. It might just be Leonardo's art.
I mean, I think it's always nice when they distinguish that he's using a power, whatever that power may be, that something changes on his viz screen, whatever it is. So his eye color changing from white to red. Because during the fight, like I'm looking at the panel here where Split is saying, he deserves what he gets for, you beat me before by teleporting all around me. Right there, I see the whites of his eyes in the suit. So I love that they use the different color as showing, hey, I'm using X-ray or I'm using this or whatever kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's that is good. And I love the whole over the course of this issue as Bruce is at the casino and he gets up to, they mention at one point he's up 7 million.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care if you're Bruce freaking Wayne. That's when the pit boss and 2 burly guards come over and like calling shenanigans sort of thing. Yep. And then we get the bits with where we finally get the name of the villain du jour, and it's False Face, which did not see that one coming when reading this originally, because False Face is like literally before this, the only other time I've ever known in the history of Batman to use False Face was the 2-part episode with False Face in the original Adam West series. He showed up in one of the cold opens in Brave and the Bold, and was in the Adam West, like the Batman 66 digital series, where he essentially became Clayface.
Right.
You know, which makes sense. But yeah, False Face, and now we know why he's got the helmet and why this particular individual is in Arkham Asylum as the issue ends. And just damn that the cover for the next issue, where, you know, Bruce is walking away with a honey and looking over his shoulder at this like absolute 100% messed up Terry lying in the garbage. I was like, damn. And you're like, I one of the things I loved in the original series, when the suit got damaged, like it just, you lose that outer layer and you see the circuitry underneath. I always love showing that. It's not, no, the suit's still there. It's just the armor is degraded. So
the armor, yeah, and that is so cool.
And then you got outright rips like on the shoulder and the face and all that. And Terry's just, all I said was, I didn't think Batmobile's so cool. You know, like he's obviously he said something. And in my head, Canon Bruce tuned him in. So we get back to the Matrix unit is ours in this lab. And I was like, no, it's not that Matrix, Mike.
What? I didn't take any pills today.
Why, oh, why didn't I take the blue pill? That's it. That explains everything that's going on in the world. We're all in a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
No, I'm not a member of QAnon.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, so Terry's, continuing the fight with the split, and they split again before splitting entirely from that scene. And we go, like I said, we go back, and I made a mistake. I said it was the last issue. It's this issue that, Bruce is at this casino, and everyone's like, it's luck. No, it's talent. No, it's luck. And I know just enough about how casinos work that if somebody's up 10 million like that, like they try to placate him with like, let me get you a room for tonight. We're going to comp everything.
Yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. And then you got this chick that initially I thought it was like, my God, what is Max doing there?
I know, right? It's the hair. It's the hair.
Yeah. And I wish they hadn't, at least at this point, I wish they hadn't like completely written Max out of the series the way they did.
Yeah. Because
she's an essential, I always thought she was an essential part of the family.
She is. The thing of it is for as long as we've been doing the Dan Jurgens run here, as much as it sucks how she went out, you can't have too many people knowing Terry's secret. Yes, she knew it. Yes, she was the quote-unquote Robin assistant helper, whatever. But if you bring his brother in on it the way they did, there's only room for one. You know what I mean? Like, Terry's got his whole family here now. He's got his brother. He's got his quote-unquote dad. And he's got his girlfriend. And that's really all you really have room for. I mean, sure, a best friend was great for when you had to make excuses for Dana. But the fact that Melanie knows, like, Max being here now in this story would make absolute zero sense, which I'm okay with. I mean, I hope when they do future stories at some point, hopefully, that they'll bring her back in a new capacity or a new storyline. Really quickly, a version of Falseface did appear in Batman Beyond in the episode Plague, voiced by none other than Michelangelo himself, Townsend Coleman.
Ooh.
This version has the ability to assume anyone's identity by merely rearranging his face in mere seconds. The ability comes from years of genetic manipulation and surgery. Falseface was hired by Cobra to smuggle deadly virus from St. Denis to Gotham. So, yeah. But, hey, at least he's in the DCAU, besides, obviously, being in it here.
Oh, he's in it now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Bruce is going to bring not Max back to the house, and wait till you see the underground garage. And I was like, oh, nope, this just isn't going to end well.
And I'm so glad I figured it out before we get to the point of him bringing him back, of them going back to the house, because I'm like, going back just a little bit here, the panel where Batman does pull him over, is that a gun? I'm like, it's a good thing I know this is not Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, that would never happen. But at least I know it's not Bruce. And, oh boy, that gun, man, damn.
Yeah, Punisher, or Batman went full Punisher there.
Uh-huh.
And I love the that one's panel where you get like the interior view of the cowl, like Iron Man's helmet in the MCU movies.
Yeah.
I don't think you've ever really got that. Like, we got from Terry's perspective, so you have like the targeting reticle and readouts and all that. And then this girl, like, clearly this is like this stereotypical floozy, because this dude, random dude that she met at a casino, is taking her back to his house. She's probably old enough to be her grandfather. He's just whipped out a piece, and now he's arguing with Batman. It's like, I'm going to get out of the car and get an autograph. and on top of this, not Bruce has already like ordered Alfred to like lock everyone out of the cave and kick them out of the house. And those losers still watching, Alfred. Of course, sir. Lock transmission. And it doesn't matter, comics, movies, TV, whatever. It's just when they block transmission. Like, I've always loved that little something. And then Bruce tackles Batman off the goddamn building.
Yep.
But we're not going to resolve this on the next page. We're going back to Arkham Asylum.
Absolutely. And because, I mean, Melanie's here. 10 has to have an adventure, whether she's in suit or out of suit.
I wonder if she's lying when she says she's head of security. Because I'm fairly certain they've never established, like, Bruce giving her a job prior to this. So
True.
She's either lying and this administrator is like, yes, Mr. Wayne can, whatever you want, ma'am. Or she's just actually head of security. I love, they never answer that. I love it. But they go to, like, she shows them, like, on, looks like a piece of paper, view pad, whatever, the events of, like, the first issue. So kind of like a picture-in-picture flashback. And then False Face tackles Melanie out of his cell. And this just proves, like, he can't see shit, he can barely hear shit, and Batman will whoop your ass.
Yeah, but Batman doesn't whoop his ass, though.
No, Batman, I'm talking about Batman he's False Face, finger quotes.
Oh, right, yeah.
Like, he's kicking the guard's ass, and, well, Batman hasn't really fought a girl in a while, so, Melanie takes him down and pulls the helmet off. Terry's made it back to the cave. And if you're like Mike and you're already suspicious of what's going on, then you would be doubly suspicious, where right away Batman is like, run voice analysis on me and confirm my identity. And you go and you see it's Bruce Wayne. It's like, wait a second, so where's False Face?
Yeah, I was not expecting this.
Yeah. He could be masquerading as anyone, from a street beggar to the mayor. Yeah. Anyone. Cue evil maniacal laugh.
Oh, I was so not expecting this. And again, I have to say, I've enjoyed the run so far. And as much as I did enjoy, and I'll probably I'll end up linking all of our past episodes in this podcast post episode, but it's one of those things where I remember when we were doing the final joke, I'm like, oh, it's Joker. He's back again. I get it. They're trying to, put their own stamp on the Joker in the Batman Beyond world, and that's fine. But this, to me, is all new. Yes, you have False Face, which is, he's been around for years kind of thing, but creating a whole new character called the Split and all that entails and everything you have to do with that compared to how this issue ends, I'm like, oh my God. That cover, the cover for the next one after the Who Am I? I'm like, oh, that is such a good cover.
Yeah. Well, we find real Terry, like on the street, and these two thugs who, in my head canon, are the descendants of the two guys from the beginning of Batman 89. Hey, American Express card. Never leave home without it. Like those two mooks, these are their great-great-great-grandchildren.
Yeah. There ain't no friggin' bat. That ain't what I heard.
Yeah. Like, I felt so bad. I don't know who I felt worse for in that scene. Quick aside was the dude that Michael Keaton was hanging over the edge of the building, and clearly he snapped. It's like a giant bat, man. Or like Jughead Jones in the beanie that he just boot fucks through that door.
No, I'd say it's the guy that Batman's hanging off the roof. I'm Batman.
I mean, it's a 50-50 split, because it's either the guy that's got the severe mental trauma or the guy that's going to have this permanent imprint of somebody's size 12 across his ribs.
Yeah, well, a size 12 injury will heal. Mental stability lasts for years. So again, I say it's, the guy he's dangling off the roof.
Yeah. But yeah, so we get, I love, like you said, that next cover, like, yeah. And again, the next cover with like the split heads and everything.
Yep.
But forgive me for making this reference. You're tearing me apart, Lisa. Some people listening to this will get that reference.
Yes. Not the other co-host. So we start this one off with a police chase.
And I thought we went to merry old Neo London, because I haven't seen a lot of American police that have the black and white checkerboard strip on their lids.
True. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I guess GCBD has to reinvent themselves somehow.
Or maybe it's like a cultural exchange thing.
What I love here is these opening panels of the police car. I do not think I've seen colors melded so well in a Batman book, specifically with something like this. I love those colors.
Yeah,
so good.
Because was it looking at Chris Sotomayor?
Yeah,
as the colorist on these. Yep. And Andy Parks. Like, got to give big ups to them along with Rick Leonardi. In the art, is they're just really knocking it. I wouldn't say out of the park, but a solid triple. Yeah, with these issues. Like when you get the glow from the boot jets or the burst from a gun fired, it's nice.
Yeah. And because Falseface is now Batman, he doesn't care who he hits. Sorry, not really. I'm just going to knock you out of the sky as I fly through Gotham destroying stuff, trying to be a superhero. Not really.
Also, if this was New York City, it's like, hey, I'm flying here. And he stumbles upon a kidnapping. And I love... This is totally something Terry in the early days might have said. Not so much now as the expressions of gratitude accepted.
I don't think he would. I think maybe if he didn't understand, like if it's like Rebirth and he just stole the suit, whatever. But even then, I question that, because it's one of those things where Terry was never that guy. If you did complete ass backwards Batman Beyond and had Nelson Nash, Flash Thompson's kid or whatever kind of thing, oh sure, I could see that in a heartbeat. But I've never seen Terry to be, looking for a handout.
Yeah. So. No, I mean, it is what it is. I'm just saying.
That's what it is, yeah.
It's not really a handout. It's just, it's creepy and all, but, back in the day, when he was kind of in the very early days of Terry being Batman, I could see him making a comment like that. Although I do love when the writer actually spells out, "You broke my nose" in proper broke nose language. Because it's, "You broke my nose." He broke your toes? No, he hit you in the face.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he's like, "Oh, well, your nose? Sure. Well, let's go for all 206 bones." And then he basically suplexes a dude off the roof. and, dumps him, and then Terry flies away, and then Terry helps the guy out of the trash, and, because he's like, I don't know who I am.
I love Terry's look in this. It's very, very Bruce Wayne-ish, but it's still Terry because it's black and red instead of, black and purple or black and blue or whatever Bruce would use. Black and gray in this instance kind of thing. But Bruce is back, so we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah. I do love that shot of Wayne Manor. I always love it when Wayne Manor is right on the coast, like it was in the animated series, because so many other, like mostly in the comic books and in the movies, it's a very landlocked location. Yeah. And I just love, and especially with he makes it, there's some personality to the architecture of Wayne Manor versus I know there's limited budget and you can only do so much with buildings in an animated series, but I never really liked the Art Deco-ish design of Wayne Manor that they carried over into Beyond. This is watching a mid 90s syndicated action show sort of shot. It's just mwah, chef's kiss. And then that we got to recap the events of the first issue of this story all over again because no one pays attention.
This is why I say that comics, you have, no matter how long you have on look at and again, I mentioned earlier in this podcast how big Dan Jurgens' body of work is as a writer. But look at what we've done as far as covering his Batman Beyond run. We've had so many different stories, so many different things happen, and now we're having this happen, and it's animation, live action, you can only do this in comics. You can only, no matter how long or how short your run is. I just think, personally, comic books are my favorite medium at this point because so much can get done when you're given the chance to.
Yeah. No, it's the infinite medium that is the page. You can do so much more with comics than you can because you're limited by budget, you're limited by time and producers and I work for the studio types, fixers and such like that. And it's not like you're not beholden to, the higher ups or a deadline with comics. It's just the fact that you can express so much more on the page, be it the writing or the art, than you can with an animated series, which is why, I've talked to friends over the years, and when they do certain TV shows that have continued past their run on the screen and they go to the page, and mainly that leans into Buffy and Angel territory, but also with Batman Beyond, all shows that came out in the 90s, folks.
Yes.
It works because, I'm a fan of these stories and I would like to see them continue. And as we get back to Batman, I will, if you ever liked Buffy, Mike, I really recommend, if you ever have a chance, look at the current Buffy comics because they totally rebooted it. Firmly set in the modern day. Characters are all there, but everything's just a little, left of center. So
I always preferred Angel over Buffy as far as the TV shows go. I saw up to, I want to say, the beginning of season 3 of Buffy. Whenever the graduation happens, whenever they graduate high school and Angel has to leave again or whatever kind of thing, and Faith comes in for the first time kind of thing, I only ever really watched up till then, and then I jumped over to Angel once he left Buffy. But,
Faith came in season 2, and they left high school season 3.
Yeah.
So we get back there recapping. Leonardi draws False Face without his helmet. He looks like the chameleon from Spider-Man.
Yep.
Which I'm not saying it's not rip-off. I mean, what do they say? Bad writers the like good writers homage, great writers steal, or something like that is a quote I've heard. So I know there is a certain sect of people that probably see something like this and are probably ready to light the torches and grab the pitchforks because Leonardo didn't put enough effort into designing this guy and just blah blah blah. It's like he's a blank, and he assumes somebody's identity. Like, it's been done, and it's going to be done from here to the end of time. Deal with it.
And I love the lines, not just on him, but on Bruce as well, because in this scene where I'm starting in the panel where he's back and he's unmasked himself, and you're the boss, Terry. According to this, Batman was just involved in a shootout. It says you threw a kidnapper off the bridge and killed him. If that's true, I'll see to it that you never wear that suit again. I love the lines on both of their faces, because the lines on False Face's face, on the False Terry face, is supposed to show us, the reader, is this ain't Terry, man. And then Bruce, it's more so like, I need to show you all of these muscle ticks in my face because Batman doesn't kill. And then we get the explanation of how, he left him a little worse for wear, but the guy was alive. But see, this is the thing. They don't ever say, they don't ever really fix this for Terry himself, because the real Terry is now, the murderer.
So he's a homeless derelict wandering the streets of old Gotham.
Killing people as he goes. Not really.
Yeah, that's just this, Ice-T looking dude that, cold cocks him with a gun and lays his ass out.
Yep.
And I love how they every so often they mention like Wayne Powers, and we'll see at the end of this volume why I love that so much. But it's just they mention that, and then they bring up Blight. And honestly, I wish Blight had been a bigger presence in the animated series than he was.
He was and he wasn't. I mean, he was all throughout season 1 and season 2 for the most part.
Yeah, but there was really only like 2 times that Batman went up against him, like, mano a mano.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, you have this guy that is a nuclear leveled power upgrade to like a Batman villain like Dr. Phosphorus, who's this guy, and I love that. And it's just, I love like the voice actor. I love the design. It's just, you have this guy, like you have an evil Bruce Wayne in charge of the company. And then you have Bruce and, as we later found out, his son fighting to take back their legacy. And it's just, I wish he would have mixed it up with Blight a lot more than they actually had. But, back to the thing, not Terry is out on patrol. And I love it with the writing. It's like the little ticks when False Face doesn't know how to do something. Like here, switched to infrared. How? Oh, yeah. It's just that little something. Then we find he's using the infrared. He tracks down Split again.
Yeah, I love that panel.
Yeah.
That even though this is not Terry, this is False Face. Like when I first saw the panel where he's like, they're like, when are you going to learn you can't handle us? I say we finish him and head home. That is a perfect Facebook cover photo panel of them, speeding towards him and him just staring at them. That is so good.
Yeah. And I love how Matt maybe hasn't tumbled. Like he knew something was off with Mr. Wayne, but clearly, and it's like the little brother worshiping big brother thing, where he's, simple mistake, Mr. Wayne. He grabbed the wrong cartridge. That's all. Yeah, that's what happened. He didn't mean to throw the high test explosives at them right in their face as they're running to him at Mach 1. I was like, Oh, Matt, you simple little creature, don't ever change.
Yeah.
You know, you just want to pat him on the head and tousle his hair, just like, oh, that's my boy.
Yeah.
And, you know, not Terry is getting worked by the splits.
Yep.
You know, and I mean, it's clearly. I thought I had to go back and look at the panel a second time when I was reading this last night. That I thought he only cut one of the splits.
Mm-hmm.
When you see the scar, well, no, it's clearly he got them both, but I didn't catch that the first time, so I thought they were doing this whole Corsican Brothers thing where you hurt one, you hurt the other.
Right, yeah.
And then he gets down, he's like, "Why don't you come and work for me?"
Yeah. I'm not who you think. I'm this, I'm that. And I love the twists. It's twist time. I love that. And I love this, not end, but this next part where, what is he doing? It doesn't make sense. I should have realized it earlier, Matt. That man is not Terry. That's false face. But if that's true, where on earth is Terry?
Right now, Mel, he's locked into a time-honored storytelling trope of somebody getting knocked the fuck out and waking up with a gun in their hand.
Yep.
And I mean, honestly, it's when I say I hate this, it's because nobody deserves to die like this. Like that waitress seemed like a really nice lady, and then Ice-T, shoots her and cold cocks Terry and puts the gun in his hand and takes off. And Terry just looks down. And he's like, WTF?
Yep. And whether it's Terry or not, in the next Samney cover, I love that all of these covers for this trade so far. I've loved them all. They're all so good, so Batman Beyond-ish.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you see the split up on the Batcave monitor. We got like the proper Bat computer. Again, like I said before, nitpicky fanboy gripes. I want rocky outcroppings. I want that single chair in front of this monolithic flat screen and a keyboard, this curved keyboard, ergonomic keyboard with more keys than are even on proper keyboards because. And it's not like Bruce ever looks at what he's clicking. It's just like tick, 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 tick. Oh, thank God it worked out that way. But if this had a title, this image would be A Day in the Life.
Oh, of course.
And there's a line from when not Bruce was bringing that girl back to the house and he's, putting down some really creepy lines. The thing is, the reason it rang so true for me is because I can totally hear Conroy's voice saying that dialogue.
Oh, absolutely.
And, because they kind of closed out the DCAU movie universe and they're going back to just like doing like direct-to-DVD movies, but they're not all set in a universe. They should take this, adapt the story, and make it like a direct-to-DVD movie, like do a brand new Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Because like Conroy's eternally in DC's camp, and Will Friedle will come back.
Oh, of course.
But we get into the story. Everyone's like, "What the hell is he doing?" No, this isn't Batman. Like Matt's losing his mind. And he is because he's got running his hands up the side. He's grabbing his hair. He's like, what are we going to do? And I said it like that because he reminded me of that running gag in the Nickelodeon Ninja Turtles series. Whenever they watch Space Heroes and the Wesley Crusher would get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And just that look on Bruce's face when he's like, false face. And I was like, oh, shit.
And then we get the origins of Adam and Caden.
Yeah, they explain that they're basically born. They were born with. I don't know if I would imagine that, the Speed Force exists in this incarnation of the Batman Beyond universe, so they were born with this connection to the Speed Force, but it's like this creepy version of like where you were born as twins, but one of the twins absorbs the other in the womb.
Mm-hmm.
And then at some point their dad just pawns them off to Derek Powers because I can't deal with this bullshit.
Yeah. But again, it's a cool origin story. It's interesting. It's
tragic.
It's tragic and it's fresh. At least it's fresh for me. I'm sure, throughout this entire episode we've made references to various things, but I don't ever remember seeing this in any Batman story before. And it's just so interesting.
Yeah. And again, with the references, because we find out later on in this issue, I mean, just to skip ahead just a little, we find out that the splits are essentially only 6 years old. Mm-hmm. But for as long as, it was a bit longer than that with, the Future's End storyline. And this revelation that, sometime in the last 6 years, Derek Powers took these kids in. Presumably, he wasn't Blight yet because Terry's dad was involved with the experiments on them. This further muddies the waters as to how the timeline is working out in this universe now.
Yeah.
This is more like traditional Batman Beyond timeline than everything that came post Future's End.
Right. And speaking of traditional, I always like, just like you when you said earlier, you hear Conroy. Maybe right now though, I'm all you've got. Wait, take this, it'll help. The belt from Terry's old costume. You fought him often enough that you should know what's in each compartment. That I do, Bruce. Thank you. And we get a full shot of Card wearing 10 in her getup on her card wearing Terry's old. Oh God, it's so good.
It's good. Like I said before, I don't know why I'm hung up on the design of Wayne Manor, but you got that gothic looking old money, mansion, castle, what have you in the background. And just part of me is like, isn't it a little creepy that Melanie was so into Terry? It's like, I know everything in your utility bill, Terry. I was like, yeah, that's a little creepy.
I don't necessarily think it's creepy because, again, they're playing on the fact of their history, and they're playing on the fact of that they've fought so much when 10 was on the bad side of the card, kind of thing, that she should have remembered where everything is, and that is super, super cool.
Oh, yeah. I'm not saying just like for a moment it was that. It's more so just that I love, she loves Terry and she knows him well enough. And, I just want like a brand new Batman. Like they brought back Animaniacs. We can bring back Batman Beyond.
Don't tempt them to do something that we'll regret, because I'm sorry, Animaniacs was horrible.
I know, but that's the only reference I had for bringing back a beloved 90s animated series. You can't say that about the Ninja Turtles, because the Ninja Turtles never really goes away for more than like a year.
Well, true. I mean,
and I also so we get back to the London Bobbies, picking up Terry, who's passed out on a bench, and now apparently they're part cyborgs because they got cable arms.
Yeah.
It's just really, really cold in Gotham City, and those are keeping them warm.
And they also have a lightsaber, and George Lucas can't sue anybody anymore. Disney can, but George can't.
I didn't think of lightsabers. I went back to Futurama. It's like the human and the robot cops who like, zzz, and it's just nightsticks is all it is.
Well, by the time Terry holds it and cuts the gun out of his hand, I'm like, yeah, that's a lightsaber. I'm like, okay, when's Terry McGinnis going to start using the Force and go over to Clone Wars?
Yeah. Also, I love that little scanner dealy. Like it made me think of a mini disc player.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, it did. Yeah.
With this weird little attachment. Yep. And I love how he outs himself as like, well, he's wanted for murder. I didn't kill that woman. Who said the Vic was a woman? I'm innocent. You're going to need some serious dental work when I'm done. And all of a sudden we're in Los Angeles.
Yep.
And Terry works the cops because muscle memory and all that.
Right.
And that made me think, because recently with everything that's going on, I've been rereading through my comic collection. There's the Captain America run where Bucky was Cap, like post Civil War, and there's a storyline where it gets in, is he really responsible for what he did as the Winter Soldier?
Yeah.
And this made me think of that, because even without knowing who he is, he still has all that training, which is why Bucky was so easily programmed by the Russians, because he still had all that training in him. So just kind of made me think of that here.
Yep.
And then, I don't know how Batman's keeping up with the split here. He's a speedster.
Yep.
Base level, he should be running just maybe a little too fast.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know how Batman's keeping up with him either, but Batman basically...
And he also does, like, I'm taking you back. Sorry, you go.
Well, he basically takes, he basically holds 10 in front of them and says, Shredder. Not Shredder, but shred her. And we go back to the cave. We got to do something, Mr. Wayne. If my call pays off, Melanie will be fine. Foosh! Been a long time, Bruce. Who? My only gripe with this, and this is a nitpicky gripe, this is because it's not my Flash. If they really wanted to do DCAU style Flash, this would have been Wally, not Barry.
Yeah, but I think because I haven't read the Future's End stuff in so long, that Wally, and if, again, like I said, how the timelines futzed with here, Wally was Borged in the Future Perfect thing. And this is just, honestly, it's Barry Allen. It's a Flash. I'm not overly, like when we see in the next couple of pages where he saves, this is from, just looking here because I've got this info somewhere. This is the design that they did from a recent, in the last year or so, storyline featuring Barry, where Barry is fighting the Turtle in the present, and then Barry Beyond, or Flash Beyond, comes back in time to help him, and then they go to the future and he has to fight Turtle Beyond, because now he's got actual superpowers and is destroying the time stream. And I mean, it's a cool costume of all. It's just, you want the hood, you want the fins on the side, yada, yada, yada.
I mean, I like that they brought a Flash into this, and I think that's super cool. I think, sorry, I haven't been in touch in a while. It's, so there's some sort of history there that at least I probably don't know, because I didn't read a lot of the Future's End stuff past certain things. So, but yeah, we get into this final issue here, issue 36, and it's all flashing back to me now.
Oh,
what? It's a meatloaf joke.
Sorry, I can't handle that right now. I do like the cover for 36, where you got this giant split digging into the Batcave to go after Flash, and Batman's like, I do not get paid enough for this, and Flash is like, the hell? It's times like these I miss the Rogues.
Yep.
But yeah, we get into this last issue where you got 2-on-2, so even odds.
I guess.
Ish. Even-ish.
Yeah, I mean, 10's not as fast as the three of them, but yeah. I think Barry's speed, even as an old man, makes up for at least, some of what she's not fast enough to do.
Yeah. And I know his name is Flash, the Flash, but when you see that page where Mel's like more like 2 against 3, see the split, can divide into 2. Got it. I just, looking at that shot of Barry just made me think of Flash Gordon.
Oh, of course. Yeah,
and that is
absolutely.
That would be a very good Flash Gordon suit. But yeah, and so it's the Split versus the Flash, and then 10 versus Batman. And normally that would be an unfair fight, I would say, for Melanie, because Terry has outclassed her before.
Except this isn't Terry. So.
Yeah, so he doesn't have like the instincts and the training and blah, blah, blah. I do love that line. It's like, we can't possibly lose, Mr. Wayne. Overconfidence is a trap, Matt. It's like, again, Conroy. Nothing but Conroy.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. But yeah, they're fighting all over Gotham. The Flash manages to, take them down and kind of talks them off the ledge, I think would be the worst, because like they're just trying to survive, and they appeal to him, and Flash is like an expert in the Speed Force and such like this, so he goes with them to their little boat lab to fix things while 10 keeps trying to stop Batman.
Yep. And the twist here is to continue the whole Terry McGinnis has amnesia thing. Falseface dies, but he still looks like Terry. Uh-oh. That's not good.
Yeah, and I love how they explain how this Falseface, pardon me, this Falseface's powers work, that, when he absorbs or he takes on the likeness of a target, and he gets he's got like this vague telepathic power that he gets like surface level download of their mannerisms and personality quirks, let's say, that lets him more effectively assume their personage. And then that's why when Bruce woke up in the Clink, he couldn't remember who he was.
Right, yeah.
It kind of leaves them, and I thought, like, wow, that's just a really creepy way of taking someone's identity. It's not like the Skrull just copies you and, goes off somewhere, or Clayface just assumes your form. No, like, they're literally becoming you.
Yep.
And we don't know what happens to the Split, because Falseface shows up and grabs, like, the power core, and boat go boom.
Boat go boom. Yep. And we get a little bit of the aftermath, and we get a mention of Barbara.
Yeah.
We don't actually see her, but we get a mention of... Oh, no, we do see her. Because it's her with Flash and 10, which is kind of cool.
And the cops.
Well, I mean, she's still commissioner, so...
Yeah. And then we get the... Like I was building to before, is like, Blight's alive! Because a couple of shots throughout this issue, we see this bubbling in the water. Is that green energy? Is that just light reflecting off the surface of the water? No, it's
Blight.
It's, pardon my French, motherfucking Derek Powers.
Yeah. And I think that's cool. Again, even though he had his run in the cartoon originally, I like how each series Jurgens has brought back certain characters, classic Beyond characters, and now it's time for Blight. But because Terry is in the place that he's in, it's also time for... About time Wayne turned in. It's like he never sleeps. Neo Gotham without the bat to protect it? Unthinkable.
Yeah. I mean, we both know who this is, right?
I mean, kinda. I had to look
you
at
haven't
several.
read further than this in the series?
No, I have not.
Okay.
No.
You're going to enjoy the revelation, is all I'm saying.
I already know who it is now because I've looked at several clickbaity articles over the last 6 months or so, so I do know who it is. But as I'm reading this, I'm like, who is that? And then once we finish our final thoughts here in a second, I'll read the description for our next episode of this coverage, which will happen in, I want to say, when did I schedule that for? In March. Episode 401, Batman Beyond, Volume 7, First Flight. Hey, wait a minute. There's no Green Lanterns in this. Not yet, anyway. I mean, if Flash is here, I'm just waiting for Jon Stewart to show up. Because Hal Jordan's overrated, in my personal opinion. Anyway, what are your overall thoughts and just kind of final thoughts and rating 0 to 5 for this arc?
Oh, this is 5 batarangs out of 5.
Oh, absolutely. There was a few of the art things I wasn't too thrilled with, but overall, I love the art. I mean, just a few of like the facial tics and things like that, but other than that, I love this, and the trade has the variant cover gallery thing. So yeah, 5 batarangs out of 5 from both of us. I love all these variant covers. They're so cool.
Yeah. No, and I mean, overall, like, I love the story. Like I said, I love the story so much that I wish they would resurrect the Batman Beyond franchise and make this like a direct-to-DVD movie, or even if they did a new series, have this be a 2-parter, because that bit at the end of I think it was like 34, where it was just a natural point for like to end the episode on a cliffhanger.
Right. Yeah.
And I'm just gonna page up very quickly here to see if I can remember which issue that is. But no,
go ahead.
I was saying I love. Yeah, it was the end of 34, where Terry wakes up in the diner with a gun in his hand.
Yep.
That would be a great perfect spot to make it even a 3-parter. I mean, draw this story out somewhat. But no, I love the story. I love Leonardi's art. It was going to be Jan Jurgens there for a second. Dan Jurgens, who, on top of being one of my all-time favorite Superman artists, because he just has that very solidness to his art. Like, you look at Superman, it's like when Henry Cavill comes around the church in Man of Steel after the oil platform.
Right.
Like, dear God, he looks like a Dan Jurgens Superman come to life. Jurgens' writing has never disappointed me. Like, there's stuff that I'm not sour on. I'm not 100% in favor of, but he hasn't written anything that I've outright hated.
Yeah.
And he's been in the business long enough now. You know, he started as an artist. He transitioned into writing and art, and he does art now and again now, but he's mostly a writer. And, you know, I love this stuff. They like Chris Samney's covers, as we've said all during this episode. Mm-hmm. It's just great.
Yeah, absolutely. And coming up, like I said, in March, episode 401 of the podcast, Batman Beyond Rebirth, or I guess they're just calling it Batman Beyond now, Volume 7, First Flight. Who is Batwoman Beyond, with the Caped Crusader missing and Neo Gotham facing the threat of one of the deadliest villains it's ever known? A new hero is needed. Bruce Wayne will turn to friends, both old and new, in order to keep his city safe. But that won't be enough. Fortunately, a new and mysterious protector will arrive on the scene, taking flight to save the city. But the new Batwoman better be ready. The villainous Blight is back, and he's bringing the fight to her. Collects Batman Beyond, issues 37 to 42.
Yeah. No, and one final thing on Blight, I always wish they would have ended the Rebirth episodes. Mm-hmm. Like, you have the Derek Powers scene with him laughing maniacally after he realizes he's become a walking mass of radioactivity, and then you have Terry, wake up. It's Mr. Bruce Wayne. Like, I always wish they would have ended that episode with the handshake as it peels out, or they're shaking hands and then the camera pans out and they're in the Batcave now. Like, kind of how they ended it in the comic adaptation of that. I'm just saying, I always wish they would have done that. But yeah, no, I love these issues, folks. I highly recommend this series alone. You need to go back and read it from the beginning. Like, it is like in my opinion, the official continuation of the animated series.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely. It's so good. It's so fun. It's so interesting. And again, this arc specifically, this series, this trade specifically is so not what you expect from a Batman comic. It's not the characters you expect to see or any of that kind of stuff. And it is so cool. So interesting, so fun. Absolutely love it. Like I said before, episode 401, which is after our 400th episode, celebrating 400 episodes, 8 years of the pull bag. Coming up next in February, we have got, what the hell do we have coming up in February? The comic concierge, Movie Revolt Dan, will be with me to talk about the final volume of I Hate Fairyland. So we get that, and then Kendra Hale will be back with me we're going to debut Radiant Black with Radiant Black #1, Kyle Higgins' new creator-owned series. And as I said, folks, episode 395, as you may or may not have heard, is either Devocracy or it's going to be something else. If it's not the other thing that I am planning, that other thing will happen in February. Pop Kill issues 1 to 4. This was a Jimmy Palmiotti and Dave Johnson Kickstarter series, 4-issue series, where what if the two leading cola companies restarted the soda wars and they were owned by former Siamese twins? It's actually really fucking cool. So, and yeah, that's what's coming up here inside the pull bag. As we said a second ago, we both give this 5 batarangs out of 5. Where can the people find you online, sir?
You can find me on all the social medias, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at JT from Saskatoon, all one word. I'm also part of the Comic Connoisseurs podcast, as well as the going in sometime in the next couple of weeks, we'll start year 2 of the Twigs Sunday Funnies with Mike the Birdman Dodd. Me talking about comic books and the internet. What a novel idea.
Well, I mean, it could be a page out of a panel. Who knows? I will say right now, folks, we have moved around the Scooby-Doo or I have moved around the Scooby-Doo team-up thing because we're going to have Mystery Machine May this year. Instead of May being Batman month, even though there's probably going to be a little Batman in there because Scooby-Doo team-up usually ends up teaming them up with Batman at some point. So all May, we're going to have volumes 3 and 4, 5 and 6, and 7 and 8 of that. So that's going to be happening. But yeah, make your great escape into comics, and we will catch you next time here inside the Pull Bag.
You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's first comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, geekcastradio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate and leave a review for the show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Become a fan of us on Facebook, facebook.com/thepullbag. Send us an email, feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at thepullbag and at geekcastradio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.